Dating Unsettled.
Welcome to the Dating Unsettled show where we dare to date differently. On this very episode of the podcast, what should we call it, girl? What should we call it?
We could call it, I don't know, dating differently, dating poly dating.
Poly dating differently, amorously, dating
Yes,
amorously, poly different,
mon-
dating unsettledly.
exactly. All the things.
Well, our special guest is none other than Renise Alexander.
Hello, hello.
Hello. So, Renise, I am really honored and excited to have you here today because you date differently, amorously, poly, polyphenephrine, poly, poly, calypsoli. You do
Yes,
that.
yes.
Um, so talk to us at the beginning. I think I like to backtrack to the early parts of dating and understand like what led to people's quote unquote mindsets. I don't know, babies come out the womb like I want all the partners. Like, okay, do you? I'm gonna let you get that. Do you believe that polyamory is a sensation that entered your body in the womb? Like you came out the womb like I don't like monogamy. Or is this something that kind of developed over time? When did the bug catch you, or when did it
Yeah.
exit your body? Talk to us.
So it definitely developed over time. I think that there was a part of me that since college, like realized that one person is not able to satisfy every need that a person has. But
Hmm.
I didn't think that poly or, just being open, an open relationship, however you want to call it, was for me, and that's based on cultural pressures, societal pressures to just be with one person and be loyal to that one person. I think that a lot of media like kind of puts emphasis on that. And it wasn't until probably last year, maybe 2 years ago, that I really explored how multiple people can be way more satisfying.
So it entered your spirit. You said one is not enough. Uh, when you say when you say that, like you know, is there a way that you ever thought, let me stay on the monogamy side for as long as possible to make this make sense? Like in the way that, if you're not getting enough from one partner, you start, maybe the, hey babe, can we try this little da da da? Was it a series of like trying to quote unquote make monogamy work before you went over to the polyamory side? Was there, a series of unfortunate events
Yeah, a lot of that.
there that made, yeah.
A lot of just like monogamy is not working because this guy, he's pissing me off right now and I want to go talk to somebody else, but I can't do that because he's my man, and it was a
But
lot.
what about your friends? What about your community? What about Chat GPT? You can't be asking Chat GPT for advice. There's so many people to talk to. What about me? What about the strangers on the internet? There's so many people to talk to about your emotional problems. So what made you go? What made you go? No, I need a whole nother partner. I need a partner times two times three.
Yeah, and really it was that. It was I was dating somebody and he I think it was mostly a pressure from him at first. It started off as pressure from him where he was like, I want to be poly. I want to be open. And I was kind of like, I don't live here. We were in a long distance relationship, so it kind of made sense. And it just ended up being so much better. Like it was healthier whenever we were together. We could focus on each other. But then when we were apart, it wasn't that pressure of like, oh, I haven't talked to him today. We haven't seen each other in a week. Oh, that's weird. Like it just wasn't that same pressure of I have to talk to you every single day because you're my man. It was when
Mm.
we talk about each other and we're good and we're healthy. And then whenever we're away, we can talk to other people and it was fine. Now that relationship ended because he broke some rules. And so that ended up not
Ooh,
being the healthiest. Yes, you saw.
That's unsettling.
talk to me about these rules
So there's still boundaries, right? Like you still have to have rules to make sure
in
that you're
every
not
relationship.
hurting each other.
Yes.
Every relationship has to have rules, whatever they are. And if you break those rules, in a sense, you are cheating because you're not being honest with what you signed up for. So
Hmm.
with my current relationships, I have two partners, and then a couple of like just people that are just around. But
a couple courtiers,
a couple like
a dalliance or two.
Right. Because I'm a flight attendant, so sometimes I might be in a city and be like, oh, somebody's here.
You're a flight attendant.
I'm a flight attendant.
So you be cruising through these skies,
Exactly.
picking up numbers, talking about some enjoy the flight.
Yes.
That's you.
Oh my gosh,
Now,
I am
now
such
we
a like
know.
flirty person. I love to
You,
flirt.
you are the flight attendant
Yes,
cliche. You are
yes,
the reason.
I am.
You are the reason people don't trust people who work in the sky. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding. But
no, literally. Like whenever I see flight attendants on the list of like careers you shouldn't trust her at, I'm like, yeah. I mean, if you believe in monogamy, then maybe don't date a flight attendant because we're not gonna be
do
there.
That's unsettling.
And like, I don't want to say all flight attendants. Obviously, there's plenty of us that are monogamous.
I know there's a flight attendant right now that's like, shut up.
Yeah, like, shut up. Don't tell the secrets. That's why I'm like, let's all just be honest about what we're doing, right? Like if you're out here hoeing, then admit that. Just be honest. Tell people what
Just
you're
say
doing.
that. Just say that.
Just say that. And I always tell people, like, for me, non-monogamy is not about sex at all.
Mm.
Because like for me, I have to, so one of the things I really related to was your hardballing episode, because on the show that I did, Married at First Sight, Unmatchables, on my episode, we did a lot of filming about how I am on a date. And they cut out a lot of it, but part of the whole thing was how I hardball on dates. And I have these like list of questions. Now, it's never like an interview. Like I know one of the things you were saying is like you don't want to come off like an interview checking boxes, right? It's always a conversation. And sometimes that happens before we get on the date. But there are certain requirements that I have for guys that I'm going to date. And if you don't meet these requirements, then like it's not going anywhere. Bye. Exactly.
No, it's really not.
Right. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm just out here like meeting guys on planes and going to the hotel with them afterwards. Like, no, that's not it. That's
He's like, I wait at least 3 weeks before
at
I meet
least
him
we
at the
have to
hotel.
have multiple conversations. You have to have bought me dinner at least once or twice, like,
Period.
I have standards.
Did they buy you dinner in the sky? You're like, dang, this shift
Free dinner in the
from
sky.
Houston to Atlanta to Vegas has been a little long. You look like you could use some couscous and carrots.
Yeah, no, I get free dinner in the sky, so that doesn't count. I need you.
He's not like flight attendant call button, boom, you come over, can I help? He's like, can I buy you a drink? And then you're like, yes. And he's like, what do you have?
He's like, so here's
you're like,
credit card. I gotta go get it.
And you're holding up that COVID sheet. Like, okay, tap 4 for ginger ale. Back when we couldn't even say what we wanted to drink.
Yes,
you were funny. Okay, when you joined Married at First Sight, you joined Married at First Sight Unmatchables. Let's talk about that. Did somebody call you up? Did a producer call you like, hey, Renise, your friends and family say that you're unmatchable. Would you like to be on the show? Or even as you're filling out the paperwork and you're like, unmatchable. How did that make you feel?
So they didn't tell us the name of the show for the longest.
That's unsettling.
Yeah, I was a fan of Married at First Sight. I applied on a whim when my last relationship ended, was just like, F men, F dating. I don't want to do this anymore.
The relationship was so bad that you said, I'll just go get married.
Just go get married. It can't be much worse than this, right? So
were you polyamorous at this time?
No. So I had just tried the open relationship and he was such a liar that it did not work. And so I moved back to Atlanta right before COVID. And this is when they contacted me. It was right in the middle, right at the beginning of 2020. And they contacted me obviously about Married at First Sight. And so I was going through the process for that, doing all the interviews and applications, questionnaires and all that. And I think what it came down to was I am very, very much like I know what I want in a guy. And I think that my answers probably like scared them away from matching me with someone for marriage, because I was very much like, I'm not dating someone younger than me, which one of my partners is now, so that's funny. But he's got to be Democrat, very liberal, very open, not super religious. Like I literally had like this list of things. And what it came down to was how I definitely am comfortable with taking the lead in sexual situations, and I'm very picky about who I'm going to be with. So they just found that all very fascinating. and wanted to just put it on a show.
We approve.
So basically, the whole concept of Unmatchables was like people that they really liked, but they couldn't find a partner for. So they liked us. Yeah,
that's what. Nothing you said is quote unquote wrong.
Yeah,
I think we talk about this a lot on the show. It's like you can be extremely picky, but I encourage it.
yeah.
I'm I'm the friend that's like, yeah, block him. Because why are we waiting around in situations that are mediocre? I've said this
Why?
before. Like I've said, why are you not dating someone that makes you feel amazing? Like your heart should be singing, the values should be lining up, the energy should be matching. There's no reason to sit around in a I just wish this fundamental core issue about my partner was different. And that's been like, I think, a recurring theme over the past couple episodes. So
Yes.
I'm glad that you spoke on that. I'm glad that the show recognized it too. But it's interesting that they didn't want to put you in Married at First Sight, given that you were so particular. Married at First Sight is almost like yeah, I'll just take whatever. I'll take whoever you give me. And they knew that you would not gel.
I would not.
But isn't that good for drama? Isn't that good for ratings?
And so I feel like they have a balance between what's good for drama and really actually trying to make matches that work, right? Because if you looked at that season, the Atlanta season of Married at First Sight, a lot of the couples, you could tell that they weren't completely honest on their questionnaire. You said that you love all animals, but now you're talking about you're allergic to cats. So which is it? Like which is it? You're saying you love all types of women, you don't have a type, but now you're calling your wife ugly. So like what is it? So that season was wild. And I'm so thankful I was not a part of it because I feel like they would have tried to match me up with Chris and he was a whole mess.
Okay, so you leave Married at First Sight.
Unmatchables.
Yes. What is your experience? Has anything changed for you now in dating or the way that you see partnership or what you're looking for?
Yep. So after I watched them come out with the show, obviously, reality TV, I always say it's real in terms of like what we are saying and doing, but there was definitely some editing that told a different story than what actually happened in real life.
Right.
So watching that back, I kind of was like, this is not really who I am, how they portrayed it. And I know who I am. My friends know who I am. But I was getting a lot of attention, a lot of people in my DMs. A lot of people were like, kind of trying to uplift the fact that I am comfortable with my sexuality and talking about sex and that there's nothing wrong with that, which I feel like the show kind of tried to make it seem like because of my experiences, I act out more sexually. And it was just kind of like weird the way they portrayed it. And I didn't really like that, especially with like the shows like The Bachelor and stuff starting to really encourage women to be more comfortable with sex and talking about it and wanting it. So I didn't really like that they kind of portrayed it as like, oh, she's only acting out this way because she was sexually assaulted before. And it's like, no, that was not the cause. I have decided that like for me, being comfortable in my sexuality is liberating. And it makes it easier to know which guy is there for me versus just to fool around. Like, what do you actually want?
Say that piece.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think that whenever polyamory is discussed, and this was touched on in Red Table Talk as well, minds immediately go to like, okay, they're trying to like maximize for their like sexual comfort or pleasure. What's interesting though is though when you started, you're like, oh, there's needs that I have that one partner cannot fill. Your first was actually emotional needs. So like, did you find it really difficult to find a partner that was like not comfortable with you confiding in other people emotionally?
I got really lucky, to be honest, that when I decided this is what I wanted, there were men already in place who wanted the same thing.
Men already in place. Affirmation for 2023. For anyone who dates men. If you date women, women already in place. If you date people already in place.
Yes. So one of the things I do is in my dating profiles, which I barely online date. I think online dating is such trash. But whenever I do my profiles that are live, they do say that I'm in open relationships. I'm not looking for monogamy right now. And I want to be clear that people can change their minds. So I am in open relationships right now, but there could be one day where I find a guy who is able to fulfill all my needs. And then I decide monogamy is right for me. I have two partners right now who together they are the perfect man. It's like they both have things that I absolutely love them for, and both have things that drive me crazy, and I need a break. I need some space.
1 + 1 = 1. And when I get tired of this one, I go to the other one. And when this one's making me sickums, then I'm gonna go to that's interesting. Not unsettling. Interesting.
Yes.
Do your partners and you hang out together?
No, they do not. They know about each other. One of them might know a little bit more about the other.
Know about each other.
They know about each other. I know about their partners too.
Sorry, I'm 7 years old. Like,
Yeah.
maybe I'm just paranoid.
Yeah. No, I'm very honest. I am very honest when I date. I tell you up front, this is what's happening. Because I am a flight attendant and I can kind of be anywhere, anytime, you have to be a lot more transparent. Like if I'm going to be in your city and I need you to know so that you can either make plans to see me or I can make plans to see somebody else. Like
so that you can kick
works.
your women out the house because I will be coming around. That's you. Are you like, you're giving them an advance notice? Hey, landing at 4 o'clock. Get her out the house.
Clear it out. She gotta go.
Wow. Okay, so you've got 2 partners now. Did you ideally start going, okay, yeah, I want 2 partners and that'll be good for me, or 2 partners and I'll keep dating and stay open to situations? Like for you being polyamorous, where do you draw the line?
So right now, what I'm trying is to really have one main partner and then others who maybe fill in the gaps whenever he's busy. Both of my partners have very, very busy lives. You know, they have jobs that require a lot of focus. And so whenever they're in that mindset, I might not hear from them. And so in that time, if I have a need that needs, attending to, I like that there's another option. Like I said, it's not always sexual. Sometimes I just need to talk. Sometimes I'm like, I'm dealing with something and my therapist, I can't pay her again this week. So I need someone to just talk to.
That's unsettling.
Not using your partners as backup therapy.
Yeah. Cause you should never use friends or family or partners as a therapist. But sometimes
she said, but I do.
But sometimes I've already talked to my therapist that week and I need someone else. I just want to run some things by you. I'm just emotional right now. And I just want someone to just hold me and cuddle me for a second,
Your therapist is like, this polyamory thing is the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Your therapist is like, hey, darling, have you tried monogamy? Maybe so we can talk more girly talk.
Yeah.
Your therapist. Stop it right now. Your therapist is the one that encouraged you to be polyamorous?
Yes, and really it was because she knew that I was not getting everything I needed from one guy. And I couldn't really decide between the two of them. And it was like, well, why do you have to decide? What, like, why? Why does that matter? Why do you have to be with just one of them? And I was like, you're right. Cause they're both into open relationships. So why should I just kind of limit myself? It doesn't really make sense.
I didn't know therapists could do that.
Oh yeah.
Therapists could recommend relationship styles for you.
Yeah. And really it's not a recommendation as much as it was a question. Like, well, why do you have to just be with one of them? So it was letting me come to the conclusion on my own of what's going to be best for me. So and that need. So I asked my mom this the other day. My mom's also dating, and she said something.
Is your mom polyamorous?
No, but she's been listening to me, and it's like, why am I not? like maybe my daughter has the right idea. Yeah. So I said to my mom, I was like, well, why do you need to be his everything? Like, why do you have to be his entire life? Like, why does he have to come to you for all these things? And she was like, I don't know. Or it was that she wanted a title for something. And I was like, but why? Why do you need a title to do these things? If you care about him and he cares about you, what difference does a title make? And I think a lot of people get caught up in that. Like there was this one video I saw where it was like this couple had just finished having sexual relations and the girl was in the kitchen about to cook and the voiceover was like, girl, don't cook for him. He's not your man. Why are you cooking for him? And I remember watching that being like, but you're both hungry.
Yeah.
so
but you need to eat. Yeah. Nothing drives me crazy. Nothing drives me crazy like this whole phenomenon that we have to create like HR benefits packages for our
Yeah.
partners. Whether you have one
Yes.
partner or 2 or 5, the idea that you have to like slowly roll out
Roll it
the
out.
amount of love, care, or just actions, comfortable action, living, cooking. We're talking about cooking a meal, things that are
And it's
comfortable
like,
for you that
you're
they say,
hungry
don't
too.
do that for somebody. Yeah, don't do that for somebody you're not dating. Don't do that
That
for
doesn't
someone
make
who's not your
any
husband.
sense.
Don't do
Right.
what you're doing you're giving wifey qualities, wifey status, blah, 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 to a non-wife individual. I'm like, cut it out. I'm
Right.
hungry. I
Hungry.
I love giving people gifts. If I go on a little trip, and I was like, even in the early dating phases when I was swiping, like I told the person, oh, I'm going on a trip, or I'm in, like class, I learned something that could be helpful to their business, like whatever the thing is, like I'm gonna get back with them on the date and be like, hey, I thought of you, like here's this little thing. And like,
Exactly.
do I think that I'm trying to like buy their affection or like, invest so much in them that they're willing to invest in me? No, it's just, I want to feel the way that I'd like to feel in the relationship as
Yeah.
early as possible. And so not everybody's
Exactly.
down with that. Sometimes people are like, oh, I need a couple of weeks or a couple months before I start doing these types of things. I'm like, I want to feel like I'm in love with you and I'm dating you and I am myself around you as early as
Mm-hmm.
possible. So if that's me buying a
Exactly.
gift, if that's me cooking some food, which that's the thing now, those of you who listen to the podcast know I wasn't cooking before I met this man. But
I saw the new pots you got. Them new pots encourage some cooking and things.
hello, massages, quality time, whatever it is, I want to do that as soon as I feel comfortable to do that, not after we've crossed a certain threshold of titles.
Exactly. To me, that doesn't matter. It's like, I care about you. You care about me. I'm going to show you. My love language is acts of service. So I show love that way and I receive love that way. So if I care about you, I'm going to take care of you, period. It doesn't matter how long I've known you. It doesn't matter what our title is. I'm going to take care of you. So one of my partners went to Morehouse. I went to Spelman. So we have that connection. And I literally, just before we got on this thing, just bought him a gift from the Polo Ralph Lauren collection, Morehouse
Oh my
collection.
gosh, yeah, it's
And
such a cute collection.
yeah, it is. It's so precious. I love it. And just, I saw it. I thought of him. I'm going to buy it. It doesn't matter that he's not my boyfriend. He takes care of me and I take care of him. And that's all that matters to me is that you treat me wonderfully. They treat me so great. Like I have no complaints. I was out of work for 4 months. I had a concussion. So I was out of work and I couldn't fly. They both stepped up and took care of me in such a way that like there's nothing I wouldn't do for them. But that's also why I say I need them both.
Right. You said, because hello, ice over here. Grapes,
Yeah.
please. Oh,
Yes, yes.
there's like I think idea that people have that if you invest that way into a relationship, you're taking care of someone when they're injured, blah, 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 you don't have the title, you don't have the status, that it's going to breed resentment, right? That you're like, people will be angry. Oh, you're going to be so mad that you did that for him. You're going to be so mad that you gave her those things that you bought her. And I think that's when people are giving with the wrong spirit. Like giving is supposed to be open, free. You hope for reciprocity, but maybe not from that person, from the universe, right?
Yeah.
I don't gift you this. I don't come and do you this favor saying, all right, well, you owe me one, right? Like giving is supposed to be open. And I think when we try to hold back our gifts, you live like a nice, small, sheltered life. When you release your gifts, when you let people experience the best of you, even though there's no security that that person's going to stay in your life, then you just stay having fantastic, you know what I'm saying, experiences with people.
Exactly.
Even if you need to connect with more people over time to keep that like, kind of good feeling. I wonder, because it sounds like your polyamory, your polyamory is ka-ching, is working for you. I'm an idiot. Is working for you right now. Have you ever had a situation where your polyamory failed, or where the style of the relationship had a negative like implication on your dating experience?
Yes. And like, so actually currently kind of in that right now where, where
that's vulnerable.
Yeah. Like right now I kind of am in a place where I'm reevaluating everything. I met a new guy who is like, I'm not down with poly. I'm not down with open relationships. I want monogamy. I like you. I want to be monogamous. And
okay,
so
you met somebody who's like, I just want you, or
yeah, I don't want to share you, basically. And
wow.
I was honest with him and said, I'm not in a place right now where I'm willing to give up my 2 other partners. But I do like you. I do want to get to know you better. And so I'm interested in seeing where this goes. So sometimes it does fail because I want him to want to get to know me and figure out if this is something that we could do. But I don't know if this, I don't want to hurt him, basically, is what I'm saying. Is I don't want us to get so invested and that one day he's like, you got to cut them off. And I'm just like, no.
Right.
And so in that sense, I can see it kind of being a problem, which again is why I'm upfront in the beginning to let people know that I prefer open relationships. And if that's not something you're willing to do, I don't want you to get too invested in case I'm not willing or I don't get there the same time you do. And again, like I said in the beginning, I could get there. I could be in a place where you are providing everything I need emotionally, sexually, spiritually, all of that, where I don't need anyone else. But I'm not there right now. And so I can't give you a clear answer.
And I love that he's kind of like letting this be known up front. Like he's doing nothing wrong either. Like he was interested in you. You already had on your profile though that you were polyamorous, correct?
I met him, he went to Morehouse as well. So I met him through mutual friends. So yeah, it wasn't an online thing. And so he did not know coming into it. So when we had our like big conversation and I had to kind of let him know.
Okay, I can see that. Because I was like, if you saw it on the profile, you knew what it was when you signed
You knew what you would
up.
do, yeah. Although let's be honest,
understand.
how many men actually read those things?
They don't read.
Look at the
I
picture.
used to have, like, you're not supposed to do this in dating. Like, this is a clear objective. It will limit your options. But when you have negatives in your profile, right? Like, not interested in someone who blah, blah, blah. I would have things like that, like in the early dating stages. I'd have those on my profile, and then the guy would match, and we start talking, blah, blah. I'd be like, oh, yeah, I don't believe in Jesus, or whatever the thing is. Whatever my thing was at the profile at the time. I changed my profile every day.
Yeah.
I changed that boy every day. But he'd be like, yeah, I don't agree with this, or I'm not interested. I'm like, boy, did you see the caption?
Right.
And so I think we
part?
have the whole thing. I think we have an assumption that everybody who is dating dates like us.
Yeah.
We have an assumption she's going to take the time to read the profile. She's going to ask these questions. She's going to be this honest. He'll blah, blah, blah. They will. People date like them, and you need to date like you, and you need to look out for you and not really expect anything else out of that person except for basic respect. That's what I've said is all that we are owed.
Yes.
Does that make sense? I've said before, all we are owed in dating is like the basic respect. Give me a basic response. Give me a clear rejection. Give me an honest answer in your own timing, in your own style. But really, like, I came out of a 7-year relationship, right, into the dating pool again. So the norms that I had established with my partner and the comfort I had established with my partner completely melts away into a no man's land. This next person who's walking up has no obligation to be like the 2 partners that you've met before, has no obligation to be like, the one partner I had before. They are going to do them their way. And if you're a type A perfectionist control freak, you gotta start winding that down to make room for what they want.
I'm a Capricorn and I'm an Enneagram 8. Okay. So my
I don't even know what either of those means. I just know Capricorns are born in the early parts
December
of the year,
22nd.
right?
Yeah, December 22nd through January 21st.
You're December 22nd?
Yes, that's my birthday.
I was born really close to you. I'm a Sag.
Okay, I call myself a Sagicorn because it's the first day of Capricorn, and then I was raised by Sagittarius, like all my siblings, my mom Sagittarius, so I'm very borderline.
You are a Sagicorn, and now you're somebody's unicorn. Okay,
Here all night,
we need to end here. The last thing I want to ask is, do you have any advice for anyone who is considering polyamory, dipping their toes in polyamory, who, maybe they are monogamous and they're just interested in someone who's polyamorous? What advice, what sort of state of the union things would you give the people?
Honesty and boundaries. You have to be honest with how you're feeling. Like if something is upsetting you, do not hold that in. You have to express it. Now you have to express it in a healthy way. I know one of my partners and I had a fight because of the way he said something to me, and it was his truth, but you have to say it in a way that that your partner can hear it and not take it as criticism. So
say it in a way so you can hear it. Mhm.
Exactly. So like if you are upset that your partner is seeing somebody else on a night when you really wanted to see them, instead of saying, hey, I really didn't like this, you say, I really like it whenever you let me know about your plans ahead of time so that I know when I'm going to see you. Instead of saying, oh, I didn't like that, I didn't know about this, and this hurt me and this made me feel this way. Because see how that's like, that sounds more negative. You want to focus on the positive side.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's, and
'Cause my
this all, it's hard. It's not easy. Like honestly, poly, open, whatever you want to call it, is not for the weak of heart, the weak of mind. You have to be really centered in your emotions, and you have to be able to manage other people's emotions. And if you're not in therapy, it's going to be even harder. You need to have someone that can help ground you. And I recommend having a therapist that also is into alternative lifestyles, because if you have a therapist that's not, they might be a little judgy. They might not be able to help you navigate that world. And also with the boundaries. Some poly couples, they don't want to talk about their other partners. They're like, we have a kibosh on all things that are not us. And that's your choice. I don't have that with my partners. We talk about everything, because for me, if I don't know, I'm going to imagine the worst, right? I'm just going to be like, oh my God, this and that and that. But if I know where you are, I know you're with her this weekend, I know what the plan is, then I can like make my mind accept that. But if I don't know, I feel like you're lying to me. I feel like you're hiding things. I just want to know everything up front. So yeah, boundaries and honesty.
Yeah, you know the words that I don't. That's where that generation.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I'm 36. So.
Yeah, I just have to. I got the melody in there somewhere. No, I think that's really helpful.
I'm really bad with lyrics. So like I can make up my own lyrics. I know the song. I'm gonna make it up.
Oh, 100%. I know every 10 words within 60, but I will sing it. And then if I'm at the party and the part I don't know, watch what. This is how we do it. It's Friday night and it feels all right. The party's here on the west side. Then I go, and then my cup.
The head swings, the like.
You start doing the A.
Oh yeah.
Dating Unsettled.
Thanks for listening, Unsettlers. I can stay with you all day, but I can't. So thanks for listening, Unsettlers. Follow Dating Unsettled for weekly episodes wherever podcasts are found, so you don't miss an episode of your new favorite show. If you can't get enough of me, subscribe to my newsletter at datingunsettled.com. DM me your dating stories on Instagram at Dating Unsettled. I want to know how it's going for you. Renise, what's your handle? Let the people know.
Curly Girl Ray. Ray is RAE.
I love it. Curly Girl Ray. See y'all next week.
Dating Unsettled.